Communism is based upon a doctrine inconsistent with American liberty.
Freedom of speech was not always welcome in the movie business. In the 1950s, Hollywood joined the rest of the nation in a hunt for communists. The names of those suspected were added to something called the blacklist.
The Motion Picture Industry Council reaffirms its consistent opposition to communism, its works, its members, its methods.
It was a real list. It wasn't just some theoretical thing. There were lists of directors and well-known writers. The blacklist period was one of the dark chapters in American history, and I'm sad to say that the Academy didn't really behave any better than anybody else did.
I've never read Karl Marx, and I don't know the basis of communism beyond what I've picked up from hearsay. What I've heard, I don't like it.
In 1955, the Academy passed a bylaw that prohibited any blacklisted writer from being nominated for an Oscar. When The Bridge on the River Kwai won Best Screenplay in 1957, the original novelist collected the Oscar, but he didn't write the script.
For the best writing of a motion picture,
Pierre Boulle, The Bridge on the River Kwai.
The two writers who did, Michael Wilson and Carl Foreman, were on the blacklist. So for the Academy, they didn't exist.
Some people committed suicide when they were on that list. There were people that moved to Europe and never came back. Jules Dassin is one of them.
Some blacklisted writers continued working under pseudonyms.
The nominations for Best Motion Picture Story are Robert Rich for The Brave One.
But when they won Oscars for Best Screenplay, as Dalton Trumbo did,
The Brave One, Robert Rich.
there was no one to walk up the aisle.
Jesse Lasky Jr., as Vice President of the Screenwriters Branch of the Writers Guild, will accept the award for Mr. Rich.
After 4 years, the Academy reversed itself. Much later, it officially welcomed back those it had shunned.
I was once upon a time a respectable member of this community. Respectable didn't necessarily mean more than I took a daily bath when I was sober, didn't spit except when I meant to, and mispronounced a few words of fancy French. Then suddenly, even before Senator Joseph McCarthy reached for that rusty and poisoned axe, I and many others were no longer acceptable to the owners of this industry. Possibly they were men who had been too busy to define personal honor or national honor. Possibly. But certainly, they confronted the wild charges of Joe McCarthy with the force and courage of a bowl of mashed potatoes. I have no regrets for that period. Maybe you never do when you survive, but I have a mischievous pleasure in being restored to respectability, because I never thought it would happen. I hope that the rest of my life will not be too respectable.